So what's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Book entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon Kindle Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. This one is white players protesting. This is interesting. I'm late. Sometimes, but you know how I do. I let things die down a little bit before I. So what happens is this. You got Howie Long's son. You got the other player from the Seahawks. You got the receiver from the Browns. You got Derek Carr, the quarterback from the Raiders, involved in the protest with the anthem with the other players. I want to see how this plays out because once again, are they gonna make it about the guy, why the guys are protesting, or is it gonna be another deflection? Or is it one of those situations where, because like I firmly believe that because Kaepernick was a quarterback, that's what really made it a problem. Because now all these guys who aren't quarterbacks are doing it. People wanna. That's not necessarily the face of the league. Like if Cam Newton did it, I think it'd be different. I think if Jameis Winston did it, it'd be different. I think if Russell Wilson did it, it'd be different because of the position. That's just my opinion. So, but these other players doing it, do your thing. Now with the white players, it's interesting because Howie Long's son is from Charlottesville, right? So to see what happened in his hometown, that's not what he was. That's not what he about. But he's a guy who believes in right and wrong as is, So that's nothing out of character for him, to be perfectly honest. He's a person who just believes in right and wrong. He addresses it that way. So, but I want to see how people are gonna respond to him over time. The other players are just supporting their teammates, which I think is one thing that was missed in all of these protests. Is if you got a teammate who protests and you got another player on your team who doesn't agree with the protest, but at the same time, you might be in the locker room with this person when one of their family members get abused by the police or law enforcement, or they have a story of when they was a kid how somebody got killed or how they got done, and how they see they nieces and nephews and their children get done, and they have to use their status to make sure these people don't go overboard. And I'm not talking about people who like commit illegal crimes and get roughed up. That's something different. I'm just talking about regular people minding their business, enjoying their life, just doing things, and they getting harassed and stopped and frisked and brutalized and beaten and felt up and stuff like that, because your teammates may not know how issues hit home with you until you open up and tell them. And usually if you're on a team, that's what happens. Like, you see differences of life and differences of opinion and different views because people grew up in different backgrounds, and everything isn't black and white. You're at least able to see how, like I said before, we didn't all grow up in the same, we don't experience America the same. So that's why I think it's interesting. The Derek Carr thing, I think is very interesting, because Seattle is a different story because it's Seattle, but I could see the Bennett brothers, I could see how they get down. Like, yeah, they serious, But with Marshawn Lynch, if this is Now you find out Marshawn been doing this. Like, people act as though this is something new. Like, people forget Jackie Robinson never stood for the anthem. People forget. I don't think Bill Russell stood for the anthem, if I am mistaken. But people are accustomed to this newer generation doing that, and you know, truth be told, if you look out in the stands and at most stadiums, in front of most games, these people ain't really. Most people just started standing for the anthem. You know, people might have got up. They wasn't sitting there with their hands on their hearts singing the song. You had people on the phone like, yeah, I'm gonna get this over with. You know, when Mahmoud Abdul Rauf did it, you know, it's nothing new, but what's new is they got white players protesting. So this is why I say it's interesting, because, like I said, Carr is a quarterback, and honestly, I think the Raiders gonna go to the Super Bowl this year. So I think Oakland wants to win above all else, right? So, you know, plus San Francisco's right over there, you know, whatever. But so I think, you know, they're gonna be like, well, you know, he's protesting with his teammate, but as long as you get them W's, you know, get Beast Mode to run that rock. We don't care he sit down, because he's been sitting down. It's not something new to him, so you can't attribute these last year's protests to him anyways. But he's like, look, man, I've been doing that. And he's in his hometown. What you gonna do? Like, so, but Carr being a quarterback, I doubt they're gonna say he just signed a big contract, take his money back. I doubt they do that. You know, same to other players. If the other players, depends on what part of the roster they're on in preseason. You know, those white players may get cut. To be perfectly honest, it might be a fake reason. Coach might not feel it, but it is what it is, because, you know, it's their discretion to get rid of people they think they don't need, you know, until the roster's actually full with the 53, 52, I keep forgetting, but 52. So, but the most interesting one is the receiver that kneeled at in Cleveland, because he's in an interracial relationship. His wife or girlfriend is black, and they have biracial kids, right? So he knows his kid's gonna be considered black, and the treatment that the other players are protesting about and kneeling about, his kid's gonna have to go through that. So he actually kneeled because it's personal, just like, you know, Chris Long involved it because it's personal. So, and the other players who might get involved, it may be in some ways personal here or there, because people, you know, people have friends of different races, and you see, and when you have friendships of different races, even you see how people get treated differently, you know. So some things of right and wrong might hit home with those other people, but I want to know how people are gonna react to him. You know, cut him, take their money. I hope he gets his ACL gets torn in the first game. Are they gonna be doing that? You know, you're a traitor. I don't know what they're gonna be. You know, people call the players nigga all the time, like in the stands, and I don't know if they're gonna be out in the tunnel and they hear their teammate being called nigga out of the tunnel, and then they come out of the tunnel and they call nigga lover. You know, I wouldn't be shocked. You know, I really wouldn't be shocked. Because, you know, but if a white person says this, white people can't, black people like give them extra credit, and white people try to, you know, it's one of the few, you know. But I think it's a good move. I think it's cool. You know, I think it needs to be commended. I think, you know, if people want to address issues, I think, you know, us as a people, we need to stop addressing racism per se, because if white people don't address it, they want it to be the same as it is. So to see people standing up and say, look, this ain't right, that's commendable. That's very commendable. For the people, I'm not watching TV anymore. I'm not watching the games anymore. You watching the games. You just not watching them. You might watch them on Twitter. You know, you might watch them on regular TV. You might go somewhere else to watch them. You might pirate them. But you're watching. You just don't want to pay. And I think even some of the league got to understand. The people think these things are affecting the bottom line. It's not just protests. It's other forms of technology, in my opinion. It's the overpricing of these packages for the NFL Network or the Red Zone or that type of stuff. Like you can have every game, and then I think people realize, man, I'm spending so much for this, but I'm not really watching all these games. So I think it's that. I think it's depending on the city you're in, the tickets and parking and concession stand, and for some people, sports in general ain't as affordable as it used to be, because it's not like there's a standard price. There's a universal standard price across the league for seats. 50-yard line tickets are the same going rate in all 32 stadiums. It don't work like that. Some stadiums have super high tickets because their team is a bigger draw than other teams. So, a 50-yard ticket in Boston is probably way higher than a 50-yard ticket in Jacksonville. This is what it is. So, when you're winning, you charge more. When you're losing, not so much. Except for Dallas. Dallas gonna get you. But so I don't think that money is gonna be an excuse. I just don't. I think, like I said before, technology, the internet, Twitter, all that other stuff is part of the problem as far as their revenue also. So, after this, white players protest with the black players is cool. But I think the next step probably should be getting rid of Goodell and getting guaranteed contracts. Don't necessarily have to do with the protesting, but if you're going to show all this unity and solidarity and you're going to stand up, you might as well do it for the future players that come after you also. You feel me? So that's just my thoughts on that. Yeah.